Welcome to my insights into harmonic 432. I've been doing a lot of research over the last 4 decades on the connection between the speed of light harmonic, which is 144 cycles per second or hertz, and how 144 speed of light is connected to the mysteries of 432. So this chart that I've put together here, the title is Harmonic 432 and its connection to the 144 constant. C always represents the constant, and C is actually the symbol for light. And to understand this sequence, there is a mathematical underpinning or foundation, and just the seed for this whole creation is based on the number 27. Because this is called a doubling sequence. It's kind of like a binary code. So when we keep doubling 27, 27, 54, 108, 216, 432, you'll see that 432 is divisible by 27, so it's a starting point. So just to begin this inquiry into the mystical nature of 432, I want to start on 27. So we know that in ancient India, they had the 27 nakshatras. So the 27 was the lunar mansions. So these were the sectors along the ecliptic. So the ecliptic is where the sun rises as an imaginary circle as it rises and sets. So that's called the ecliptic. And this was published in ancient Vedic texts called the Vedanga Jyotisha, and it was predicted in the Hellenistic or the Greek astronomy, which was around the 2nd century AD. So this is ancient knowledge, and it's all going back to the seed principle of 27. 27 is also interesting because we have this a chart here. I'll just show you quickly a chart of cosmic vibrations. This is from the Rosicrucian order. So this is from San Jose in California. It's a very rare chart I've had for 30 years. And all it is that it's a doubling 2, 4, 8, 16, 32. It goes forever into the billions and trillions and quadrillions. So this is an analysis of the powers of 2. But when we take away the powers of, when we take away number 9 from each of these numbers, we end up with a sequence called 1, 2, 4, 8, 7, 5. I'll just point to that. So 1, 2, 4, 8, 7, 5. And if you added up these 3 columns, it adds up to 9, 9, 9, or the sum of those 6 infinitely repeating numbers of the sequence 1, 2, 4, 8, 7, 5 is 27. So 27 is at the core of this inquiry. And we can see here that, sound is like 2 to the power of 10, that's around the thousands. Then we go 2 to the power of 20, which is the radio sounds, in the millions. And then we've got these big numbers here in the billions, that's microwaves. Now, and over here we keep increasing into the trillions, like 17 trillion, that's 2 to the power of 44. We've got infrared, but our visible light spectrum, see how tiny the light spectrum is? This is how we perceive the universe, and it's 2 to the power of like 50, which is in the quadrillions. And then this goes from infinitely small to infinitely large, X-rays, gamma rays. So this is a very, very rare chart based on the powers of 2, because you're going to see later on that when we start from 2 to the power of 8, which is about octaves, we start with 2, 5, 6 here to get the 432 note A. See, what's happening is the connection to music, we're going to discuss this later, is that the whole world, concert pitch, like if you're in a professional orchestra, the whole world is tuned to the A frequency called 440 hertz, but we want to basically detune that. We want to bring down 440, which we believe is artificial, and bring it down to one of these harmonics on this scale here of ancient Pythagorean tuning. We want to bring it right down from 440 to 432. So that's why 256, which is a power of 2, is critical in all of this. And like I said, all that information on the binary doubling sequence seeds itself back to 27, which happens to be 3 cubed. So 3 cubed, this is the most famous toy in the universe that's ever been made. We have this kind of Rubik's Cube, because it's the first cube that can form from 27. So here you can see we've got 27 balls. So if we went from 1 to 27 and added up all the numbers, how do we make them all add up to the same sum of 42, 42, 42? So this is the first harmonic in the universe. And you'll see that everything becomes cubic consciousness. Yeah, so that's why I'm showing, that's the magic cube of 3 by 3 here. My journey actually started off with collecting magic squares and magic cubes. And all the opposite pairs in space, they're called space diagonals, all sum up to 28, which has a lot to do with the 28 lunar mansions in the Western astrology. So what I would like to do is I'd like to talk about another reference to shift on from 27. There's another reference to 27 here called the Tetrahedral Sequence. So what's a tetrahedron? Here's a tetrahedron. In fact, it's that central diagram here. You're going to see that how does this data here, this yantra, relate to 27? You'll see in a minute. First, we'll discuss the tetrahedral sequence. So this is the first volume in space. So we have a triangle, equilateral, but in 3D, this is the first volume that can ever form. And this also appears in cymatics. This was the work of John Stuart Reid, who invented the cymoscope. So in vibration of water, we actually see this shape being formed. So if I could keep stacking these, if I could take another tetrahedron, put 3 under here, and then under those 3 put another 6, you could see, I've got it over here. If we could keep taking the tetrahedron, there's this one tetrahedron, then we put 3 underneath it, and then 6 sit underneath that. It's based on these diagrams here. We've got 1 here, then there's 4. 4 spheres make that tetrahedron. 10 spheres make this one. 20, 35, 56. So that's called the tetrahedral sequence. And it's originally derived from the what we call triangle numbers. So 1 plus 2 is 3. 1 plus 2 plus 3 is 6. 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 6 is 10. So those triangle numbers, that's 10, which is called the Pythagorean tetractys, is actually one of these tetrahedral configurations. So what happens is that as we expand, as we keep looking at all the bigger and bigger tetrahedrons here, the sequence goes forever. But because of the mathematics of infinity is difficult, we need something to grab and grasp infinity. So what we do is we look for digital compression or digital roots. So when we take away 999 from all these numbers, this sequence of infinity, the tetrahedral sequence, 1, 4, 10, 20, 35, 56, happens to repeat every 27. So remember, we're talking about 27 here, that this infinite series of 3-dimensional tetrahedral sequences, which is the key to atomic structure, has a recursion or a repeatability of 27. So what my point is that 27 always pops up, because what we're going to learn is that 24 hours in a day is Earth time, but the celestial time, cosmic time, the signature for cosmos is based on 27 hours. So there's a relationship between 24 and 27, which is revealed as a ratio of 8 to 9. And when we were talking about the ratio of 8 to 9, 27 hours in a day, that's what actually squares the circle. Because if I had an 8 by 8 chessboard here, that's the 8 by 8 grid. This is something drawn on graph paper. How do I make the perimeter of that square equal to the circle? We call it the mystical quadrature of the circle. And the only way to do it is to put a 9 by 9 grid around the 8 by 8. And that becomes the diameter here. And if we measure that diameter, we know that the square is 1 unit, but this new circle diameter that is called 1.272, and 1.272 is called the square root of phi, phi being 1.618. So we're asking ourselves what number multiplied by itself gives 1.618, because phi is the universal scaling frequency. It happens to be this frequency, 1.272, the golden root. So only harmonics of phi make heaven and earth, circle and square equal. And that 8 to 9 is an important ratio in musical frequency. There's some beautiful number theory about numbers that add up to 432. First of all, we know that 432 is 3 lots of 144. 144 times 3 is 432. So look at these cubic sums. We've got 3 cubed, that's the Rubik's Cube, plus 4 cubed is 64, 5 cubed is 125, plus 6 cubed is 216, which is one of these numbers here. All those add up to 432. We can do other things too. We can take this number here, 1728, is called 12 cubed. Notice we got 3 cubed, 6 cubed, and 12 cubed. We could predict that as we carry on this doubling sequence, we'd get to 24 cubed, 48 cubed. But 12 cubed is 1728. If we take every digit of 1, 7, 2, and 8 and cube them, we add them all up to 864, which is the radius of the sun. So 864 is the harmonic 864 connects to the light frequency, because the diameter of the sun is 864,000 miles, which means the radius, the ideal radius of the sun is 432,000 miles. So just wanted to show you a little bit of number theory. Talking about harmonics, in harmonics we're allowed to have big numbers and drop the zero. So if I took the pyramid now, I'm just going to show you the pyramid. Here's a small pyramid. If I was to blow this up to a factor of 43,200, if I blew this up 43,200 times, it would fit exactly inside the Earth. So imagine that there's a sphere around that. Well, that's the Earth. But to blow it up to the size of our current Earth, it has to be blown up 43,200. So in harmonics, we're allowed to drop the zeros over here. We're allowed to drop the zeros, and we've got 432. So this stuff on harmonics is not talked about at school. It should be an important part of the New Age curriculum. A harmonic number like 432 is any number when you add up its digits. 432 is 4 plus 3 plus 2 equals 9. So and the Shri 1081 plus 0 plus 8 is 9. So anything that adds up to 9 is a harmonic. Okay, so we can take things like 9 factorial. 9 factorial means 9 times 8 times 7 times 6 all the way down to 1. So when you multiply all its digits, we get 36,288. But that can be divided by 432. So 9 factorial, because 9's the key to sacred geometry, but it's a factor of 432. If I did it with 8 factorial, if I just multiplied 8 times 7 times 6 all the way down, we get another number, 40,320. But like I said, you can drop the zeros and you get 432. So this is a very important research. It opens up a whole level of inquiry into the ley lines around the planet, the three-dimensional curvature of the Earth, the trigonometry and the topology of the planet is all connected to the harmonics of the pyramid. The pyramid was like a resonating chamber. I'll show you this pyramid here. So I have a pyramid here, and we know that from the base here, from the center to there, we'll call that 1. So not the full. So if this is 2, we're just looking. This is a square base, so we're just looking at 1 unit. So if we take this distance 1 from the center, what's the length of this height? So the length of this height is 1.618. So that's called the phi ratio. 1 is to 1.618. And I just want you to look inside the pyramid now. I'm going to draw this. So if we were to look inside the guts of the pyramid, look at this diagram here. There's the 1, which is half the base. The slope height is phi, 1.618, but the height, the critical height is that golden root, 1.272. And according to Plato and Pythagoras, 500 BC, this triangle, which is inside the heart of the pyramid, 1.618 phi, this is a square root, golden root. That's the most critical, important part of all these harmonics, and not many people are talking about this golden root. But you can see why it's placed on the heart chakra of Jesus, because this is ancient knowledge. It triggers consciousness of ancient memory of all these codes, and we need to bring these harmonics back into our technology, into our music. But it can only work if the pure intention is there, because if the intention's not there, the consciousness of the person will affect the experiment. That's what Einstein never realized, that there's a third factor called the observer of the reality. So consciousness is a frequency. So I wanted to show you that. So we've covered the pyramid, we've done the bowls. There's another thing we're talking about. I want to show you some more information on 432. This is here the Solfeggio. So the Solfeggio because this is specifically about music. We're all familiar with the phone pad. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So it's just a natural, it's called a natural square. So we can take 1, 4, 7, and we're allowed to rearrange 1, 4, 7. We get 6 options. You can get 4, 1, 7, 7, 1, 4. You'll get 6 and another 6 and another 6. But you can also go this way. 4, 5, 6 is connected to 5, 6, 4. So when we look at these triplets, I'll put this down. When we look at the triplets, we start getting some interesting variations. I'm going to take this one here, 1, 4, 7, plus this one here, 2, 8, 5. If I add them up, I get 4, 3, 2. If I take 1, 7, 4 and add it, say, to 2, 5, 8, I get 4, 3, 2. So it works out that when you play with all these triplets and look at the differences between some of the triplets, you get all the magic numbers like 111, 111, or you get 108. So everything that is sacred to me in this Pythagorean knowledge is embedded in this basic 9 square, 3 by 3 matrix. The word matrix, ma, is the mother. Matrix comes from the Latin for the womb. So the number 9 is what underpins all creation. It births, it's the mother of all form, like the Vesica Pisces. It's the blueprints of creation. So I want to talk about this harmonic tuning. The ancient Pythagoras started off the scale with 2, 5, 6. Remember we looked at this chart here with 2, 5, 6. On the back of this infinite doubling sequence, on the back is a whole musical chart. So this is a musical keyboard that relates to all the cosmic vibrations. It links it to colors and chemicals and vowel sounds. But you'll see here that there's a reference to 144 harmonic and also 256. So we need to adjust our musical temperament to align with 144 and 256. So I've got another chart here. I did this chart a couple of weeks ago, but there's more information on why we're starting at 256 here. So I'll just put this up just for a few minutes. So what I want to explain was that last fortnight when I talked about harmonic 144, which is the speed of light, that means we know that there's 144,000 nautical miles per second for the speed of light, not the 186,000 that's referenced, that's in miles, but the real measurement was in the nautical. And when we measure the curvature of the Earth, we know that when we convert the speed of light into like our minutes of second, like minutes of arc, there's 144,000 minutes of arc per grid second. So this is by the work of Bruce Cathy, who introduced us to the ley lines around the planet. So I did a whole thing just on the frequency of 144, but I had a little section here that links to 432, and I'm going to show you that when we look at our frequencies, we start with the fundamental at 144. So when you see that, you know, when you pluck a guitar string, it looks like it vibrates. That's called the fundamental. It looks like lips. Some scientists call it the mouth of Ra. It has ancient Egyptian harmonic references. But when we pluck it, when we double 144, we get 288, which is double light speed. It's called the second harmonic, and you get 2 nodes. 432 gives us the trinity of 3 nodes, because 144 times 3 equals 432. So that's the third harmonic, and it goes on to 864, which is the sixth harmonic, 6 wavelengths. So this is all about sine and cosine, which is just the waves. One wave's going this way, and another one's going at 90 degrees to that, because 90-degree phenomena is how a motor works. There's the electrical current at 90 degrees to the magnetic current, and that creates the tension required to give us energy for our technology. So this 90-degree angle is critical. So I just wanted to show you that. And I'll put that down, and we'll get back to the chart over here. Okay, so we know about the diatonic scale. Like all this information here on the piano is linked to Fibonacci numbers. Like we've got the 2 semitones here, and we've got the 3 there, and together they make 5. And then we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So all these numbers, 2, 3, 5, 8, are Fibonacci numbers. And all together, the chromatic scales based on the 5 and the 5 semitones, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the 5 black keys and the 8 white keys gives us 13 in the chromatic. So this is all related to the living maths of nature. But the ancient Pythagoreans, the first note should be at 256. And this is explaining why we have to go from 440 to 432. So if we start by starting with 256 here, which links to the chart of the cosmic vibrations, 2 to the power of 8, we go to do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti. We go C, D, E, F, G, A. When we get to the A with these increments, because we started at the right note, we end up with the A sound being 432. And then when we get to C, that's 512, which is 8 cubed. Remember, we started from 2 to the power 8. We ended up with 8 cubed. These are all about the harmonics of the octave. We started from C and went to an octave higher. I believe in this whole 432 range, there's about 12 octaves of musical data. But basically, that's a really important understanding, because what we're doing is the whole world, because the seed for the sound is in the wrong note. It represents a disharmonicness. So we need to retune the whole consciousness of the planet by rechanging our music. Because I ultimately believe that when we look at a yantra like this here, a yantra is a cosmic diagram. It's 2-dimensional, it's flat. It's cosmic, but it's a flat. And the only thing makes it powerful is the consciousness of the artist pouring their prayers into it. So yantra means power diagram. But what's more powerful than the yantra is the mantra, the sound. So when they sang the Gayatri mantra, it was made up of 24 syllables, and it all added up to the value of 108. So all these, and that was recited 108 times, because that number, 108 and 144, fit into a Pythagorean triangle. So it's the mantra that's important. So if we had a 3, 4, 5 triangle, and we multiply, because 3 squared plus 4 squared equals 5 squared. I'll just show you that here. If we had 3 here, 3 squared is 9, plus if we added up all these tiles here, that's 16. It just happens that 9 plus 16 adds up to 25. This is one of the most important theorems in all the world of mathematics, equally as important as the golden ratios. But what we're going to do is we're going to multiply each side by 36. So now this side here becomes 108, 144, and 180. And if you added up all those numbers, that means 108 squared plus 144 squared equals 180 squared. But if I just added up those three numbers, 108, 144, 180, it adds up to 432. Now, when I do the next level of this, what I'm going to do is if I doubled all those values, which means I'm multiplying all of these 3, 4, 5 by 72, I end up with 360 here. And 360 is the number of degrees in a circle. So harmonic 360 is all about the unity consciousness. It's the full circle. It's the infinity that has a resolution. And that's why we want to align all our technologies with these correct harmonics. Okay, I want to come towards some conclusion now. So we've covered most of this information. There's just a few more things we need to know. We know that the ancient Sumerians, Babylonian time, they worked with a base 60 system. They even knew the square root of 2 to like 8 decimal places 5,000 years ago. They were advanced mathematicians, but they didn't use base 10 decimal. They used 60, which is our clock, right? We have 24 hours in a day, 60 seconds, 60 minutes. And then they knew that it takes for this whole solar system, our whole solar system is going around another solar system in the Pleiades. It's called our central sun. So so they knew that there was 25,920 year cycles. That's called the precession of the equinox. But basically they knew that one full revolution of the zodiac moves every degree. It takes 72 years. And so it works out that when we divide 25,920 by this factor of 60, which is their base, we got 432. Yeah, and what I didn't mention before about the speed of light, 432, is that if you squared 432, so 432 times 432 gives us 186,624, which is the speed of light. This is a really important thing. The square root of c, the square root for the speed of light, is harmonic 432. That's why our music, to resonate it to light and to the sun and to the frequency of the cosmos, we must obey and align ourselves with these important numbers. And so while we're talking about time, we know in the Vedic time periods they have the Kali Yuga. So the Kali Yuga, according to this ancient text, it goes for 432,000 years. So see, drop the zeros, you get 432. But there's other cycles as well, but they're all divisible by 432. And when you add up all those 4 cycles, like one breath of Brahma, as you breathe in and as you breathe out, these are the cycles of the universe. So one cycle of the universe is 4,332,000 years. Isn't this is amazing? This is cosmic information. It's been recorded 5,000 years ago. You drop those zeros, you get 432. So you look at sacred temples, like in Borobudur, Indonesia. This is a place I really want to go to, but there's restrictions with travel at the moment. But one place I want to go to is that there's 432 Buddhas in the Borobudur, and that these temples in Borobudur, like in Egypt, we know that the 3 pyramids in Egypt align to Orion's belt, so that the temple complex here also relates to constellation. That's called star mirror. Okay, just on a final note, we're looking at, in our modern day life, we have things like golf balls. If you were to analyze a golf ball, you know it has many, many dimples. There's 432 dimples on the golf ball, because that's about making it resist the friction so it can fly through the air. Someone worked it out, and why they chose 432, I'm not sure, but we know it works. And just a bit of number theory to complete. I particularly love number theory. It's because mathematics underpins all creation. It's a blueprint, and I learn a lot about cycles when I experiment. So let's look at a Fibonacci sequence. So we know that we can take any 2 numbers, like 1 and 4, 6 and 20, any 2 numbers in the universe, and you keep adding the previous number. So here I'm going to start with double 3, so 3 and 3. So if I keep adding 3 and 3 is 6, 3 and 6 is 9, keep adding the previous digit, we get 15, 24, 39, 63, 102, 165, 267. We end up at 432. And this was like a cosmic pair of like repeating 3s. So you might say, what does that mean? Well, that does have some importance. I just want to let you know that the ubiquity, the continual occurrence of the number 432 keeps appearing in the most amazing places. And the reason I'm sharing all this knowledge is that I'm putting together an amazing dictionary called the Harmonic Stairway. I'm putting together all my insights in numerical order. So if you wanted to study the number 36 or 72, I've got it all into a 4,000-page dictionary. And the final sequence here of importance is that we're going to start with 36 here. I'll just grab my protractor here. So if you had this, you know that a circle has 360 degrees. So if we start from 0 and we wanted to, if we wanted to draw a decagon, which means has 10 sides, I'd have to go 10 into 360 is 36 degrees. So if I go 36, 72, you need to know your addition of 36 to get the decagon. So 36 plus another 36 is 72, 108, 144. These are all very important cosmic Pythagorean numbers in music. Keep adding 180, 216, which is 6 cubed, 6 times 6 times 6, which is the sun code. We got the frequency of the light and the sun in 216. 252, keep adding 36, 288, which is double 144, that's double light harmonic. 324, 360 is the circle, 396, and then we add the final 36, we get 432. Yes, so why is that important? I'll just show you back on this chart here. Is that, just to conclude, is that 432 is harmonically linked to the golden ratio, because here's those 36, you know, we just added 36, 72, 108, 144, and we got all the way to 360. So this is the full circle, And because we divided the circle into 10, each one of these triangles is called a golden triangle. And every angle here of the decagon is 144 degrees. So this is really important information because when we look at a golden triangle, we're in resonance with the structures, the ideal structures for our temples. So 432, 108, 144, all these are important ratios for us to align ourselves with the natural harmonics of the universe. And that's why sacred geometry of temples, of mathematics and music is important, because as we create our tuning forks to this information, we're getting the correct frequencies that are going to heal our body, because it's not about how much knowledge we have or how much data, it's about how much love that we have. So when we heal ourselves, we can use this data, this information to kind of like unite the left and right frequencies of the brain. So when I put these on my temples, I feel a certain connection between the left and right brain, a harmonization, a peacefulness. So ultimately our job as educators is to take this ancient knowledge and transduce it down to the level of the average person so that they can integrate this into their buildings and into their heart. Thank you.